Hello, this is Sharon from SAS Statistical Programming. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to use Proc Import procedure to read external Excel file into SAS. So this is the syntax for our Proc Import procedure. So this will start with keyword Proc Import. That means we're using Proc Import procedure. And then follow the first option, data file equals file name. So the file name specifies the complete path and file name that is read into SAS. So for example, in this example code, the data file equal option is here. And in the quotation mark, we have this part folders, my folders. So this is the folder or place that our external Excel file is stored in. And then followed by Excel underscore data. This is the actual Excel data file we want to read into SAS, okay? And then the second option is alt equal data set. So the data set is the name of the SAS data set we want to create from reading in the external data file. So let's look at the example code for this statement, alt equals Excel underscore data 1. So this Excel underscore data 1 will be the SAS data set we're going to create from reading in this external Excel data file, okay? And then the third statement is here, dbms equals identifier. So this option tells us the type of external file to read. In our case, it's an Excel data file. So Excel data file has XLSX as its file extension. So in our case, dbms equals XLSX, okay? And then lastly, we have this replace option. So this replace option tells us to replace the SAS data set named in the alt equal option if it already exists. So in reality, the data files gets updated from time to time. So we often need to read in updated data to replace the older versions. And also there are some optional statements. So the first one is this, sheet equals sheet name. So this option specifies which Excel sheet to read into the SAS. So in the case when we have more than one Excel sheets in the Excel file, we can specify which Excel sheets to read using this statement. So for example, here I include an example code, sheet equals name underscore class. So name underscore class is one of the Excel sheet included in the Excel file, okay? And then we have another option is range equal option. So using this option, we can specify a range of cell to read in the Excel sheet, okay? So in the quotation marks, the first part, we need to specify which Excel sheet we want to read in. And then for the second part, we want to specify a range of cells to read. So using this form, we can specify the upper left and the lower right cells for the range to read into the SAS, okay? So for example, for this code, range equals, in the quotation marks, this means we want to read Excel sheet name underscore class. And in this Excel sheet, we want to read from A1 to B6, which corresponds to this part of the Excel sheet, which are highlighted in yellow in this Excel sheet. And another optional statement I want to mention here is this one, get name equals no. So by default, the Proc Import procedure will treat the first row of the spreadsheet as variable name row, which is the row containing the variable name. So if this default doesn't suit our data, then we can add get names equals no to the procedure, and then SAS will give auto names to the variables included in the data set. So when using this option, the first row will be treated as data value now. Okay, let's get to the SAS program we're using for this tutorial. So this is the Proc Import statement. So in this Proc Import program, it's the basic one. It doesn't have optional statements. So the data file equals, this is the file path, and the Excel_data is the Excel file name. So I didn't include Excel file extension here to this file name, but you can include the file extension here. That won't make any difference. And then the DBMS is XLSX. This is the file extension for the Excel file I'm using. And this is the out statement, out equals Excel_data1. So that means the output SAS data set from reading in this Excel file data, I name it as Excel_data1. And then I use the replace option here. Let's run this part of the program. So we can see we import 11 observations and 4 variables, and the Excel_data1 dataset was successfully created. And then let's go back to the code window. And let me show you the SAS dataset we just created. So let's go to library. And then, so we can see there is a library work, which is the SAS default temporary library. So it has Excel_data1 data sitting there, which is we just created. Let me double click it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. This is temporary SAS dataset we just created using the Proc Import procedure. You can see it has 4 variables, and for score on the raw, so basically whatever values appear in the original Excel file, it appear the same in the SAS data we just created. So they have missing, they also have blanks. But for score_num, which is a numeric form of the score, it has all the numeric values, and for the missing value, the SAS give it as a missing. And then the gender is a character variable in this data set. Okay, and let's take a look at variable type for score_raw. Okay, so this one, because it takes in mixed values, some are numeric and some are character. So when SAS take in this variable with mixed values, so it automatically give it as character variable. That means all the values in this variable becomes character, even though this looks like numeric, but they are all character values. And then for score_num, it's a numeric variable. Okay, let's go back to our code window. Okay, then in the next Proc Import procedure, I include optional statements. So for this one, I include get names equals no. So remember, by default, the import procedure will take the variable name from the first row of the spreadsheet. So the default is get name equals yes, even though we don't need to write a statement. But by default, SAS will do that. But if we specify get names equals no, and then the SAS will not read the first row as variable names. So let me run this program and show you what happened to the data. Well, I give the output data a different name, Excel_data2, so you can compare the difference between the datas. Let me run this. Okay, so this one, we noticed the import dataset has 12 observations and 4 variables. I remember when we run the first program, the output dataset is actually the 11 observations and the 4 variables. So let's go back to the code window, and so we're still under libraries. That is convenient. So let's open Excel_data2 and see what happened. Okay, seems like I have to double click on it. Okay, so see the variable name here becomes A, B, C, D. So this is the default variable name that SAS give to each variable, because we're not asking SAS to use the first row in the Excel file as the variable names. Now you can see the first row becomes the variable names row, but SAS consider it as the first row of data. So it has name, score raw, and score num, and gender. So that's why SAS generate this output data as 12 observations instead of 11. So of course this data, it doesn't make sense, but I just want to show you that get names equals no, how to use that option statement. Okay, then let's get back to our code window. Then the next one I want to show you is the optional statement sheet equals sheet names. So remember, in my Excel file I have two Excel sheets. So one is score, so it has 4 variables and 11 observations. And also I create another Excel sheet which is name_class. So it has all the subject's name, all the student name, and also which class they're in. So by default, if you, let me close this one. Okay, by default, if you don't specify this sheet equal statement, then the first sheet in the Excel file will be bring in to the SAS by default. So that's why in previous two SAS dataset, we can see it's the first one. The first Excel sheet was brought into the SAS. But if I want to bring in the second Excel sheet, which is name_class, we can use this optional statement. So all other part is the same. Well, the output SAS dataset, I use Excel_data3. So you can look at the data, and also you can look at this SAS data and compare with the previous two. And also this sheet statement, sheet equals quotation marks name_class quotation marks. So that way it should bring in the second Excel sheets from the Excel file. Let's run this program. Okay, it says it's successfully created, has 11 observations and 2 variables. Okay, so go back to the code window, and again Excel_data3 is ready here. Let's double click on that one. Now we can see it has 2 variables and the student name and then the student class they're in. So this is the second Excel sheet in the Excel file. So that is successfully brought in the data we want to show here. And for the last one, we're going to use another optional statement, which is range equals. So in the Excel sheet, sometimes you don't want to bring in the whole sheet into SAS. You only want to bring in the part of the Excel sheet data into SAS. So we use this range optional statement. So range equals the first part, sheet name. This is the Excel sheet you want to bring in if there is more than one Excel sheets in your Excel file. So I want to bring in the second one, which is name_class. And then the second part, there's a $sign, and then this is a upper left cell and then lower right cell. So for example, I want to bring in A1. So let me open this one. I want to bring in from A1 to, let me take a look, to B6. Okay, basically I want data from A1 to B6, so I want to bring in the data for the first 5 observations. I want to bring in this part of the data from this Excel sheet into SAS. Okay, then let's go back here. So A1, and then there's colon and the B6. Okay, so let's run this program and see. Okay, so the import dataset has 5 observations and 2 variables. And I give the SAS dataset, the output SAS dataset as Excel_data4. It's successfully created. And let's go back to the code window. And here, let's double click on this newly created SAS dataset. So here you can see it has 2 variables that appear in the second Excel sheet in my Excel file. And also only the first 5 observations brought in as we requested in the range echo statement. So, okay, this is all the information I want to show you for the Proc Import procedure for reading in external Excel file into SAS. Alright, so this concludes my today's tutorial. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you.